Welcome back to Can Business Save the Planet? Today, I am speaking with Dawn from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Guys, this stadium is unbelievable. It is a state-of-the-art, sustainability-based stadium. They have so many amazing features, from their solar panels to the gardens to the wastewater treatment. This is soon to be such an awesome conversation. So let's dive in with Dawn and get a better understanding of what they're doing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. All right, guys, welcome back to Can Business Save the Planet? Today, I have Dawn Brown with me. Dawn, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Hi, great to meet you as well.
Of course, of course. And for the listeners, can you give us a little background on yourself, your position, the company you work for?
Yeah, so my name is Dawn Brown, and I am working for Arthur M. Blank Sports and Entertainment, technically Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the Falcons and Atlanta United reside. And I'm a senior manager here. I currently oversee our tours program, our education program, and then co-lead our sustainability initiatives, our green team that we have here at the building, with quite a few others that participate in those sustainable initiatives. And then part of my role as the tours and education manager, we host about, 40,000 students a year on STEM educational field trips. And so they're also learning about science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And specifically, we really try to advocate for the green building sustainability elements and sort of how that's woven into what they're learning in the classroom and what we're showcasing here at the stadium.
Got it. Love it. Well, I'm excited to dive in because my understanding is you guys are killing it. I know Mercedes-Benz Stadium, between waste diversion to platinum certification, I'm very, very impressed in what you guys have done. So I'd love to dive in and give the listeners a little bit of background on some of the things that you guys are doing, really, really leading the charge when it comes to sustainability in the facility space.
Yeah. So when we started the vision of building the stadium, we're a major convener in the city within sports and entertainment. And so part of Arthur's vision in building Mercedes-Benz Stadium was to lead by example and do it in the most sustainable way possible. So it literally laid the foundation for everything that we do today, 6-7 years later, where we are, the building itself, is LEED Platinum certified. So we're leveraging, energy and water usage and just how the building is functioning on a daily basis, is already kind of upscale in its sustainability space.
Yep.
We have a huge water reclamation program, which can host almost 2 million gallons of water on site, and
Wow.
It gets reused in our through our cistern. We're using the water in our cooling towers, in all of our irrigation on the outside of the building. So things like that are just kind of set the tone for how we operate the stadium now.
Sure.
We're a forethought way back when in the design process, and Arthur was really dedicated to making sure that we did the best we could as a green building. And so achieving that LEED Platinum certification was really integral into setting the tone for all the rest of the decisions around sustainability.
Yes.
So as we, open up the doors, we're thinking about, well, what does the fan experience look like? What does, our operation look like outside of game day? And we have 250 associates here every single day. So what does that look like?
Sure.
How does their well-being take into consideration this whole process and how the building looks and feels every day?
Got it. Okay, that's incredible. And honestly, those are some mind-blowing numbers. So I'd love to dive in and learn a little bit more about the water treatment. So you guys, you mentioned 2 million gallons is what you guys can process?
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
two different pieces. So there's the stormwater vault, that's 1.1 million gallons.
Okay.
And that's basically capturing and diverting water from the area around the building. So typically when you're building and developing, water is going to find a way, is what we like to say. It's going to figure out where to go. And the elevation from the city side of the building to the opposite side of the building, which is where a neighborhood resides, is about 150, 200 feet of an elevation change.
Sure.
And so that water is obviously going to go to the community side, which can make flooding happen and just not be a great contribution to our community. And so we
Sure.
wanted to make sure that we captured as much as that as we could. And so the stormwater vault is huge. That was actually built even before we started building the building. And it's about 5 stories deep on the southwest
Wow.
corner of our site. And then the cistern itself is about 680,000 gallons. And that
Okay.
captures water off of our 14-acre roof,
Okay.
holds that in the cistern, and then we're using that as cooling tower makeup water, and then all of our irrigation around the building.
Wow, that's so cool. And I love to see, I mean, there's a lot of effort and really being proactive to be able to utilize that system. I mean, that's super cool. 5 stories below the ground. And it's just
Yeah.
no one really know. It's just like, oh yeah.
No one knows. Yeah. And it's a fun part of that LEED Platinum certification because it really solved a societal issue that had been going on. Flooding on our west side is still happening,
Sure.
but for us not to contribute to an issue that was already ongoing, Arthur's dedication to the west side community has been long before we even started building the stadium, and continues today, and just making sure that we're being good neighbors, right?
Yeah. Yes. Understandable. Well, let's dive into some of the other topics that are pretty complex and pretty difficult for a lot of different industries out there. Like, for example, let's dive into waste diversion, because I know you guys are one of the leaders in the space. And I mean, it's over 90%, right?
Yeah, we average about 92% on our zero waste operations, and that's every single event. It's every single day. We're not an event-based operation. We really created a zero waste sort of operation as a whole every single day. So all that we do is, whether it's a game day or match day, or it's a random Tuesday, the operation is still the same. The mindset is still the same.
Yep.
And it's really about looking at what's coming in the building. What are the procurement SOPs look like? What are the
Yep.
partners that we are bringing in? Our private events team, do they understand, when they're booking a private event, what does that conversation look like?
Yes. Yes.
Everyone is involved. And so for us, when we started our journey to zero waste, we also started a green team, which I
Okay.
think is cool to anyone starting a journey, is that one individual person or 3 people working in a waste recovery space aren't going to be the voices in the meeting rooms of people ordering lunches, or,
Sure.
private events that are being, the contracts are being made years or months in advance.
Yep.
So really having participation of folks from every department around the entire organization was our starting point. So creating that green team, I think, was very, very important, because we have people from, the HR department to like private events to the operations side, and everyone just feels like they're playing a role.
Yeah.
Whereas, versus us just creating SOPs and then distribute them out and say, this is the rules that you have to follow, right?
People are bought into it. People are a part of it.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And so, what were some of the hurdles or challenges that you guys faced when you were developing the diversion plan and strategy? And how did you guys eliminate plastics and or not eliminate, but reduce plastics to the level that you guys have? I know that that's a huge win, and it takes a lot of effort. So what were some of the strategies and tactics you guys used in order to do that?
I think it really started with creating a mindset and education around the why we were making changes.
Sure.
Because when you think about supplementing out plastic, which is cheaper, versus something that is compostable, which at that time, the market has changed a little bit, over the 5 or 6 years we've been doing it. But at that time, that's an increase in cost. And so having those tough conversations, our owner has always made decisions because it's the right thing to do by the fans, by the community. And so we have that on our side, which I think a lot of other organizations and venues don't. They're always looking at the bottom line. And that's really a harder conversation. So we were able to say, we're doing this because it's the right thing to do, number one. And number two, as we make these shifts and changes, we're also going to see the monetary changes and fiscal responsibility to all this. And so looking at, trying to move towards more compostables was our drive. We really wanted to do that as much as possible, and then supplement with some aluminum as well.
Sure.
We have incredible corporate partners. So So we're able to have those conversations with our corporate partnerships. Novelis is a corporate partner of ours who's an aluminum recycler. So
Hmm.
we tried to figure out spaces we could, put aluminum in, and where we would put the compostables, and looking at that inventory of everything that comes in the building on game day and try to categorize it so that we could figure out what's coming in and what is the partner and the outlet of where those things are going to go. We have some incredible recyclers here in Atlanta. CHaRM, which is the Center for Hard to Recycle Materials, takes a wide variety of plastics and just hard to recycle materials. And Nexus Circular also is another recycler. And so things like plastic wrap and stuff like that is still in our system,
Sure.
we're still able to divert that out of landfill and pull those things out, and then supplement where we can and try to keep this main stuff that the fans are seeing, like the cups and the boats and the Coke cup, all of those things are compostable.
Yep.
So we're really trying to make sure that anything that is mass, use by the fans, that those things end up being diverted as much as possible.
Got it. That's incredible. And so primarily the main goal has been through, and how you've realized some of these goals was cutting out plastic wherever you can, implementing aluminum in the different areas with the necessary aluminum recycling, and looking at compostable based solutions overall, but also taking some of the hard to recycle materials and partnering with a local organization that does recycle those hard to recycle materials.
Yes, absolutely.
Got it.
I think for us, it's what is our constant evaluation is what is going into the landfill and why. Like, why is it going into the landfill? Is there another outlet for those items? Is there, and it's our responsibility as an organization. We host, 50 major events a year, 200 private events a year, 250 people here every single day. That's a lot of waste that's being accumulated. And so we've taken the responsibility to make sure that the things that leave our building have a home that is not the landfill. And then we're continuously looking at what is going in the landfill and how do we backtrack out of that and get those things out.
Got it. Okay, that's incredible. And so what are some of the other things that you guys have been working on that is seen as pretty difficult to implement, but just something you guys were determined, you as well as leadership were just dead set on? So I understand that from the water treatment and as far as the utilization of water, the reduction in plastic and reduction of waste, what are some other things that you guys have done that really just are moving the needle?
I mean, I really think that us as an entire organization, educating our fans and getting our corporate partners involved. We have, I think, 8 or 9 different corporate partnerships that are dedicated towards the sustainability programming and initiatives that we have. And so they're able to help us move the needle in different areas, whether that is community work, what we do outside of the building, to bins that we have inside the building. We did a huge revitalization of all of our waste bins in the entire building, and had partnerships involved in that. And those bins are made from recycled material, whereas the original bins that we had were upcycled. They were in the Falcons Georgia Dome before we moved into this building. So they were upcycled. They were moved over, reused, which is great. But seeing the ability, we had to upgrade eventually, right? So it was getting to that point. And so having right size bins that have our logos on them, the green logo on it, and really show the fans, we have recycle bottles and cans and compost everything else, because we've allowed the 2-bin system to work because of all of the stuff that we've done behind the scenes and procurement, to get it to those two things.
Sure.
Which has been great. We've also piloted some reuse for different events. I think reuse is something that we're seeing in a lot of venues around the world, where getting the single use mindset altogether out of the picture, I think is an incredible move. And then just in general, like our green team, our fan engagement, what we get to do with our fans on a regular basis, we're rewarding them for doing the right thing. We have a recycle and win program that every single event we're giving away like autographed kits.
Nice.
To a couple of fans who do the right thing. Our bike advocacy is incredible. We have about 250 on average bikes that are checked into our free bike valet that we provide every
Okay.
event. Yeah, and we do a lot
Nice.
of really cool rewarding with our fans who ride bikes as well.
Oh,
So
that's
really
great.
trying to advocate for alternate transportation. We
Love that.
sit the way the stadium sits, it sits between two transit stations. So there's
Yeah.
a train station on either side, and then where our bike valet is on one of the sides of the buildings as well. So there's about 30% ridership for alternate transportation on the transit. And then, like I said, we get quite a few fans that are checking in their bikes, and we're trying to just build that up this year, trying
Sure,
to do
sure.
more around bike advocacy.
And you said the bike valet.
Yeah, we have a
That
bike
is
valet. It's
cool.
free. So they just come, they check in, they get a text message. They there's people out there that they have like a big bike rack thing
Sure.
that the bikes all set up in, and we're out there, we give away bike flags every now and then, and
Nice,
just really
nice.
encourage people to do that. And the stadium is set up so that it connects to quite a few bike lanes that are in and around the city. And our bike infrastructure and bike lane infrastructure is only growing
Yep.
every year. It's just getting better and better, and so we're really trying to push for that as an initiative. This past year, actually, we've done a lot of work around that.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Bike valet. I love to hear that. I mean, my wife and I, we take our two boys out riding bikes all the time, and if we had the ability to go and check our bike in and know that it wasn't going to get messed with,
Yeah.
man, we try and ride bikes everywhere. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I
And
love
our
that.
partners, Two Wheel Valet, who do the valet, they actually valet at quite a few events around the city. So like festivals that are going on, or
Sure.
Atlanta Streets Alive, which is a big event where we shut down the streets and everyone
Yep.
brings their bikes out. They have their bike valet is kind of known around the city. So people, when they see it, they're like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
another
yeah.
space that can valet my bike.
That's
It's
super
really cool.
cool. That's
Yeah.
super cool. And I think it was something I was talking to someone. I think they said you guys have. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it like 4,000 solar panels or something
Yes.
outrageous?
Yeah. So again, infrastructure that was built on day one.
Yeah.
We all of the ticket canopies as you're walking in the building. So like where you scan your ticket and you come in, you look up, there's solar panels right above. And then we have two parking areas that have solar canopies across. And that equates to about 1.6 million kilowatts annually that we're
Wow.
creating renewable energy. It's enough to power our Falcons games and our Atlanta United matches. As I
Wow.
mentioned, there's a lot more events than that
Sure, sure, of course,
that
of
we
course.
host throughout the year. But still, I mean, having some offset is really great.
Of
To
course.
be able to add that infrastructure in, and then energy reduction for us is a huge one, and just how we operate the building. So we're constantly looking at the systems and how we use them and how we can just be better. So that is a place that we're moving the needle all the time. Everything that we use in the building, whether it's lighting or HVAC systems, everything is on a certain zone and track so that our engineering team, if there's a private event in one area and then there's nothing else getting used in the rest of the building, we're not powering up the entire building. We're not, utilizing all those systems everywhere unless they're
Sure, sure, sure. Understandable. Understandable. Wow. Super impressive. I gotta say, absolutely love what you guys are doing. When it comes to the industry, I'm curious, like, what do you believe is one of the misconceptions around sustainability within your industry that you think should be either addressed or isn't as bad as people think?
Well, I think for sports and entertainment, we have a unique opportunity. We convene, thousands and thousands of people all of the time
Hmm.
for different events. And I think, it's a missed opportunity if you're not using that to educate your community. Most of those folks that are coming into your building are community members. They're people who live and work or in and around where your venue is.
Hmm.
And it's an opportunity to lead by example and show that you can make these decisions that are better for our environment and better for our community. And then us as a whole collectively can just make change and be a true catalyst for change. So I think there's venues or sports teams that just don't that haven't started the journey yet. And then we've seen just in the, 5 or 6 years that we have truly been on this journey, we've seen so many teams pick up their piece and start, and it's been really incredible. We're part of Green Sports Alliance. I know you guys are too. And just going to that summit every year is so fun because you get to see these teams that, 2 years ago they hadn't started a journey, and then now they've got a green team and they're starting the journey. They're getting on the path. And so I've actually seen really an uptick in teams joining and venues joining this journey versus the opposite, which I think is the hesitation around it.
Sure.
There's definitely still a few that we don't see anywhere, right?
Yes.
Doing anything. But I think that's the pressure at, when everyone starts to get together and everyone starts to do it, the pressure will come for those last few, I think, to start to even look at what their operation looks like and where they can make changes. Maybe it is just alternate transportation avocation, or limiting the different materials that are coming in. It's regionally also very difficult depending on where your venue is. Some places have really great recycling systems and infrastructure and policy, and others don't. And being in the South, that is definitely a challenge for us.
Sure.
Versus, being on the West Coast, I'm sure it's just regionally, it's different.
Yes.
But that's something that we take into consideration and we take ownership on and try to do what we can to move that forward.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And big fan of Green Sports Alliance. We actually just had a conversation just recently, had them on the podcast. And, I think that's just amazing to get the groups together, start the conversation. Like you said, that's exactly what you want to see, right? Is groups that had really no influence I don't want to say influence, but they didn't have a program. They didn't have, these big activations they're doing. And now it's like, ooh, they got a green team. And now they're talking about it. Now they're implementing it. Now they're thinking about it. And it's really cool just to see that how it's being able to influence the industry overall. And I think that from a sustainability perspective, that's what we're trying to do here at 4Ocean as well, is just get more people talking about it, understanding it, and seeing what they could do to have, small baby steps that are going to have huge impacts across the board. So super, super cool to see. And when it comes to the industry as a whole, what do you think is the biggest hurdle overall for anyone trying to really operate a little bit more sustainably? Do you believe it's capital? Do you think it's the resources? What do you think it would be?
Yeah, I do. I think that it's the mindset around sustainability cost money, and they have to see what is the ROI, right? What is the ROI on sustainability? And it's really hard to quantify doing the right thing, for the environment, for your community, for just the social wellness of everybody.
Yep.
But that is getting better and better. I think as you look at how sustainable operations are cutting down on labor cost or cutting down on hauling and those types of things, you are actually seeing an ROI. And then what that does as an example to your community, I think it really sets a tone of what positive change and being a good catalyst for change can do. But I definitely think that there's a lot more education now and proof in concepts of what was gone on. When we first started, there was some struggles with certain, styrofoam products or things like that we had to push really hard to get out of, but showing that we couldn't get to zero waste without limiting these things and really making the hard decision to go towards, these simple products that would get us there. It is having those tough conversations, but at the end of the day, it's the why. What change does this make? What does this do for our community as a whole? And I think compost, we know it is a vital resource, and it creates healthy soils. We have an on-site urban garden here at the stadium. We're one of the only stadiums to have any type of garden, but ours is pretty prolific. It's about a 1/4 acre.
Oh, wow.
And so being able to take that compost soil that has come from our matches and come from our games and bring it back and fill our garden beds.
That's cool.
I mean, it's showing a full circle circularity in these materials that we're diverting, and how great that is,
That's so cool. I absolutely love that. You guys are killing it. You're putting a ton of time, energy, and effort into it, and it absolutely shows. And without a doubt, leading in this space. And for anybody that wants to learn more about, what you guys are doing, get in touch with you, potentially come out to an event. What's the best way to learn more and potentially come out and see you guys?
Well, we have an incredible sustainability website. So mercedes-benzstadium.com/sustainability shows all the different elements of what we're doing. It also has a sign up form for our green team.
Sure.
We do have a volunteer program that our community can sign up for to volunteer with our green team. We do really cool activations during match day and game day. And then I also love to have people come out and help me in the garden and do some weeding.
Oh yeah.
I was out there for about 2 hours this morning, sweating it out and getting all that summer crop stuff harvested. So always looking for help.
I love that. Well done. This has been incredible. Congratulations to you guys. I'm so impressed with what you're doing. I'm love to see the progress and just leading by example and making those conscious efforts and proactive efforts for sustainability across the board. I think you guys are killing it. And thank you so much for being a guest. It was amazing learning more about everything you guys are doing. And for anyone wanting to learn more, guys, go check them out, go see an event and go tour the facility. It's amazing.
Yes, we do tours, sustainability tours all the time. So you can
that.
definitely reach out to us for that and come see the behind the scenes efforts that we do.
Bingo. Dawn, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Great to meet you.
All right. Have a great one.
You too.
Man, that was an incredible conversation. It was so cool to see everything that they're doing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Dawn and the team are doing a fantastic job. And not only now, it's so amazing to see all the effort that they've been putting into sustainability, even going back 5 or 6 years. So you guys need to go to the stadium, check it out, go to an event and just have a great time and see all the amazing things that we're doing. If you guys are enjoying these episodes, please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Let us know who you want us to interview. And until then, we're going to be asking, can business save the planet? Talk to you soon, guys.